So, quick one. Like apparently everyone else, I'm going through old drives at the moment. I've got a big sale tomorrow, and I've been going through all my old drives. And I've got to the IDE drives. Now, I've seen a lot of people of late having problems with these older IDE drives, and there appears to be three periods to these drives. You had the very early IDE where all bets were off, and generally you had to be really, really careful about jumpers. Some drives would not work with cable select, some drives would only work with cable select. Obviously, you had cable select cables and normal cables, these were the 40 pin ones, and you had to be really quite careful about them, and a lot of things you could do wrong would give you apparently a dead drive or a drive the BIOS wouldn't see, where there wasn't necessarily a problem. Then we moved to the 80 pin cables. I think it was the 80 pin cables, and everything went cable select. So you generally had your blue cable, which sat, can't see it in there I don't think. You generally had your blue cable that sat on the motherboard, and then you had two black cables. Your middle one was cable select slave, your end one was cable select master. Now, you had two choices with this. You could set all your drives to cable select, and all of them generally came with quite clear jumper settings. I think even that one does down there. But if you set your drive to master, then it had to be on the master cable select connector. So if you set your drive to master and chucked it on the slave connector, you'd have problems. I believe they would also sometimes play up as well if you select one to cable select and then actually jump at one. And then we got into the realms of drives that wouldn't play with other drives. So no standards early on, standards halfway through, and then towards the end of IDE the standards started to get a bit wishy-washy again, especially as you started to get motherboards with SATA to IDE bridges and all sorts of weirdness going on. But actually, going through all my drives here, I mean, they are slightly newer drives, I get that. I've had a much lower failure rate. I've got an old Core 2 Duo here which is doing the job nicely, and yeah, it's worked. So, you know, if you're going through older IDE drives, check your cables, check what type of cable you've got. Is it a 40 pin connector? Is it a 40 pin cable? Is it an 80 pin cable? Is it cable select cable, or is it a normal cable? And make sure you set your jumpers. Don't assume that any drive you're pulling out of somewhere else, or pulling out of a box as I have been with these, is going to have your jumpers set right. A lot of problems used to come down to jumpers with these, and obviously interactions with some devices as well. Anyway, maybe that will help someone, maybe it won't. Take care.